All right, so Gavin, you're going to be calling somewhere in the order of 700 auctions this year, and with all of that work that you're doing, obviously you're getting some real-time information and feedback from the marketplace. You're at the coalface every weekend. Do you think auctions are favouring buyers or sellers in the current marketplace?
I don't think there is such a thing as there being a trend in terms of who gets favoured. Certainly, there is probably a greater balance today than there was in the markets of 2020 and 2021, when there was such an incredibly low supply, and that meant that there was a significant amount of competition at the auction. So the buyers were then having to really compete in a feverish way to purchase property. I would describe it as a very balanced environment at the moment. And it's probably a little bit more of a normal environment, Luke, if we reflect on it, historically, where there's not really an advantage either way for the buyer or the seller. It's probably just a way, or auction should be looked at it in the current market as a way to just efficiently negotiate a purchase between buyer and seller without all the back and forward. And there's a great deal of certainty for the purchasers, in as much as when their offer is accepted by the sellers, that the property is then purchased and they can go home with the comfort of knowing that they've bought it. And similarly, on the owner's side, if the property is sold to a buyer, the deal is then wrapped up. There's not all of the after discussions in relation to the things that might ultimately upset a deal after it's already been agreed.
Yeah, so it's more of being it's a bit of a balanced market. It's more of a pretty secure and good process to roll through to create a transaction at the end of a 4-week campaign.
Oh, look, I think that's right. I think it's a great summary, but I'd also just ask people to think about it with a slightly different context. When most people think about auction, they think about a front yard full of people. They think about 10 or 20 or 30 registered bidders, all completely, beating each other to death to purchase a property. Whereas you'd know from your decades of experience in the market that it's in most cases a much more measured, relaxed and considered process, where buyers have a great deal of time to decide what they're doing, and we just work through it with them in a really considered fashion, as opposed to it being this complete rush and a significant and ridiculous premium being paid for a property.
Yeah, that's true. It creates that environment where there's a timeline in the future where everyone is then well informed to make a decision effectively.
Yes. Yeah. Again, I think that's a great way to describe it.